Well, welcome back to Fox 2 News at 6:30. I'm Amy Lange. It's back to business as usual here at this Meijer, where for several hours it was anything but normal. Welcome back. It's 6:30. A local family is spending the last 6 months avoiding deportation under the protection of a Detroit church. Last of the projects, demolishing the old city hall and police department to make way for a downtown park. This new construction went up in 2007. They say there's no record of any bones being found on the property.
So have you tried it yet?
I have not tried it. I have talked to people who swear by it, although it does sound like it's a little bit pricey, I think.
$50 to $500 a day?
Ooh, you better feel better after that.
There you go.
A dangerous suspect who cut off his tether is finally captured. But why was he on a tether in the first place? That suspect accused of shooting at Detroit police officers just last year. And a man is killed in a hit and run. Tonight, Detroit police still looking for the driver. Last night, a man was crossing 8 Mile at Wyoming on the city's west side when a driver ran through a stop sign, hitting and killing him. The victim's name is not yet known. Police are looking for a black SUV with damage to the passenger side door. Call Detroit Police or Crime Stoppers at 1-800-SPEAK-UP.
It's important to remember the true meaning of the holiday.
It is, of course, a time to remember those who served, who made the ultimate sacrifice for our country. A special event today in Royal Oak paid tribute to the brave men and women who gave their lives. And Fox 2's Ryan Armani was there. Well, they wanted to get people talking. Motor City Casino has a new approach to taking you a million miles away, right down the street. These banana peppers?
That's hot pepper.
Hot pepper.
Hot pepper is very nice. The people like it.
The rooftop garden at Central United Methodist Church, where dead Rongsburg guy is growing vegetables for those in need.
I give it to homeless people. The green beans too. It's very nice. I give it a lot of downstairs, because it's too much for us.
Dad spent 17 years working at restaurants here after fleeing Albania for the United States with his family in 2001. Now he has a new grill, but fewer people to cook for.
I still feeding people. I feeding people for 17 years. A lot of people eat from my hands. And still I'm trying to do something to take care of the people who's needed. I give to everyone.
It's how Dad fills his time and tries to find peace of mind. He and his wife Flora and their 2 sons have been living here in the church for the last 6 months with no end in sight. You can't leave here.
No.
You're kind of caged in.
Yeah, I can live in here, you know. I can be arrested. That's the problem. I can be arrested.
You can't go.
I can't go no way.
This sanctuary that we are in is 150 years old. What better place to announce that we will be sanctuary for this family?
It was back in January that we first met the Rongsburg family. They've been going through the immigration process since fleeing war in 2001. In 2009, Flora was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. She's in a wheelchair and is completely dependent on her husband for her care. But in December, instead of granting Dad a humanitarian stay, he was ordered deported. So Dad sought sanctuary at the church to continue to care for his sick wife.
Give Dad a stay. Flora needs him every day.
Since then, supporters have rallied outside immigration headquarters and tried to deliver letters of support for the family. They even walked to Lansing to raise awareness.
I'm still extremely scared about it because there still could be a chance after all this that my dad could get deported.
But now, 6 months later, they are still here, dead, unable to leave their apartment inside the church.
To send me back overseas, probably never see her again in my life. Or her, me. Or my sons either. It's very hard. What can I do?
Dad trying to comfort his wife of 27 years. Flora cries a lot. She's both seriously ill and terribly sad.
Every day more sad, more nervous.
Every day more sad, more nervous, she says, and Dad is feeling the weight of this confinement and uncertainty as well.
Just repeat every day same thing. It's very hard. It's very, very hard. Thanks God I got very nice people in here. Especially the pastor take care of us for everything.
We're in it for the long haul, but we do it day by day because we didn't really anticipate them being here this long.
Reverend Jill Zundel is the pastor at the church. She says the federal government is now labeling Dad a fugitive and refusing to consider his case. His attorneys have filed a lawsuit and continue to wait and hope for a resolution that will keep this family here together.
To call him a fugitive, he's not a fugitive. We're not harboring a fugitive. They know exactly where he is. It's hard to be in here. He's under house arrest. But he's doing this for his family, to keep them together. And if we're talking about we believe in family values, that's what this family really stands for. They deserve a chance, just like the rest of us.
He lost his leg and suffered other devastating injuries while trying to save another person's life. Sean English, the high school track star turned highway hero. This week, for the first time since his life was forever changed, Sean was back on the track.
On your mark.
Sean English running his first and last race since the accident that cost him his leg. Always an inspiration, this University of Detroit Jesuit senior walking the track with Fox 2 before the competition.
I'm just grateful that I have this opportunity to run in this race and do what I've always wanted to do, which is end up my high school career on this track at U of D.
An opportunity that seems more like a miracle.
I never thought in a million years that I'd be able to run today.
Just 1 year ago, this track star lost his leg after he stopped on the side of the highway to help the victims of an accident. Another driver lost control and struck Sean, as well as another Good Samaritan who had stopped to help, killing Dr. Cynthia Ray, the woman he'll race for on this day.
My dream was to run. Her dream was to save others. If she can't execute her dream, I'm sure as hell going to execute mine through her name.
Sean at a news conference with his parents by his side, wearing his dad's U of D track jersey from years ago.
From a feeling as a coach and as a father, very proud moment. Very proud moment.
There's no stopping him. If he puts his mind to it, it's going to happen.
Back on the track, that determination is in full view.
Now it's just all in my hands, which is the first time that I get to say that. Normally it's in doctor's hands, or normally it's in just my PT's hands, but this one, it's up to me.
So grateful to his family, his friends, his school for all of the love and support over the past year, his faith seemingly stronger than ever.
And physically it's hard, but I remember that people are looking up to me, so I just keep pushing. Psychologically it's hard, emotionally it's hard, everything is hard, but I can just always remember that people are praying for me and that I'm blessed to even be in this position.
His message, his actions, an inspiration to so many.
Hey, stuff happens, but you can always bounce back and do what you still want to do. And don't let any physical limitations stop you from doing what you love.
It certainly hasn't stopped Sean running the 400 on this day, this lap around the track. So much more than a race.
You made me so proud. This was insanely emotional. Finishing my career where my dad started his. I started the school year in a wheelchair. I ended up walking, and I finished the year running. I'm so happy, not only for myself, but that I did that for Dr. Ray. And I get really emotional when I talk about that, but Dr. Ray lost her life, and I know she would want me to run again. So I'm happy that I was able to do that in her honor.
Just a really remarkable young man. Sean also had his last day of high school, his senior prom this past week. Graduation will be soon, and then he is off to Purdue in the fall.
Kind of puts things in perspective there. You mentioned how just not emotionally tired, but physically tired, and the painful ending that he experienced.
It was a really hard race.
Right.
I mean, he ran his heart out. God love him. I mean, he was in a lot of pain. He was exhausted, but he still gave everybody a hug and talked to us after, and it was really an amazing thing to witness. I was really glad that we got to be there for it.
Inspirational, to say the least.
Yes.
I said, he's out. He's out.
Larry Melton Sr. lost his son, his namesake, then watched as his suspected killer shot, kidnapped, and carjacked his way through Canton, Northville Township, Highland Park, and Detroit. A man named Alan Ferris, who he says should never have been on the street.
The system is really failing us by letting this guy get out. Exactly. A guy like him get out, period.
Let's back up to March. Larry Melton Jr. is missing. His family checks his home on Bloom. They find his car a few blocks away on the east side, and his roommate, Alan Ferris, tries to run down Larry's son Isaiah and his friend, crashing into their car.
So he swings around the corner, he comes and hit the car. Boom! Then he backs up, and my brother jumps out, and he rams at my brother with the car.
My brother luckily jumps out just in the nick of time.
Ferris is locked up for assault with a dangerous weapon and malicious destruction of property. Then on March 26th, Larry Melton's body is found stuffed under the porch of a burned-out abandoned home on Detroit's east side.
He was beaten, severely beaten. Really, no human being should, or animal, anyone should, the way they did. My son.
Ferris now a suspect in the murder of Larry Melton, but he's still locked up on that charge of felonious assault. Police and prosecutors assure the Melton family there's no way Ferris will be released on bond.
They say he wasn't supposed to get out because it was a repeat offense.
But records show on April 2nd, Ferris, a habitual offender, a convicted sex offender with a history of armed robbery and other offenses, is released after he pays $2,500, free to go on a crime spree that would threaten numerous lives.
Police say he carjacked people in Canton and Northville and was trying to steal a third car.
A woman shot outside a store in Canton, another carjacked and kidnapped in Northville Township, an attempted carjacking of an undercover officer, a shootout with police, and Ferris is dead. The Meltons will never see him go on trial for Larry's murder.
The biggest flaw I see is letting him go. The biggest flaw I see in the system is how did this guy get out?
Magistrate Laura Echartea did not return calls asking why Ferris's bond was set so low when he was an habitual offender charged with assault, and prosecutors asked for a high bond. As for Detroit police, they say it took time to develop their murder case against Ferris, and by the time they were able to notify prosecutors, he had bonded out. The same day he was supposed to appear in court for another hearing. Police are still waiting for crime lab results to come back to determine if someone else was involved, which could still take several weeks.
I want to know who was involved. I want everybody that was involved with putting their hands on my brother to be detained in court.
In Detroit, Amy Lange, Fox 2 News.
Monica, she's been gone longer than she was alive. Her car last seen at the Last Chance bar. Her whereabouts a mystery for the last 35 years. Sue Pry lived a dangerous life, and her disappearance has haunted her family for decades. All these years later, her sister now determined to find out what happened.
Hello.
Donnie.
What?
I'm in the car with Amy Lange. And we're on Woodward. Can you please tell her how to get to where we went last night, to Sue's old apartment where we used to live?
Yeah, Woodward to south to State Fair, which is...
This is Sheila Pry, and 35 years ago, her older sister just disappeared. Her car was found at the Last Chance bar at Woodward and 8 Mile.
Right over here. Hi, my name is Sheila Pry. I am the sister of Suzanne Pry. I am in search of my sister.
Missing, with many theories about just what happened to her. A heroin addict, a hooker, a hard life.
My sister never got clean all those years. A prostitute and a junkie. She was a mom, she was a daughter, and she was a sister. She was loved.
But she was also sick, deeply flawed, and badly damaged.
She was a great sister to me, but then she could be horrible and steal from me, and then turn around and think everything would be fine to go buy me a car. She robbed her neighbor 3 doors down of all their Christmas presents.
Suzanne Pry grew up in Berkeley, Michigan, got addicted to heroin in high school, and never got clean.
She was arrested for shoplifting, loitering, prostitution, 3/5/1980.
4 months later, Sue had a daughter, Regina, her pride and joy, her love child with her pimp, Reginald Lee. Reggie had a barbershop at Claremont and Woodward. Legend has it he did hair for Motown greats. But Sheila remembers that shop as something else.
If you described Reggie, what was Reggie?
A pimp. That barbershop was more than just a barbershop. You know, cocaine was sold out of there, guns, there was a lot of illegal activity going on. It's kind of like a front. He had a new Cadillac every year. He had all tailor suits. I mean, he had everything designer.
Pimp of the Year at the Players Ball in this undated photo. Sheila says she met Reggie after Sue's first husband, Ken Harmon, was murdered. Sheila was just a kid, 10 years younger than Sue.
Met Reggie, and he was very nice, always, in a suit, and he was always nice to me. He was always really sweet and kind. But I was young and didn't know what really was happening, and I just knew I was getting spoiled as a little girl.
But as Sheila got older, she saw the relationship between Reggie and Sue more clearly. Volatile, dangerous. Listen to this story she tells.
She came over and she was beat to a pulp. And she came with Regina. Regina was just in diapers. And she said Reggie had beat her up.
Sue told Sheila to keep Regina, and Sue took off.
For 6 days, Reggie called me, hysterical. Do you know where my baby is? Where's Regina? They both loved her very much. This man's crying on the phone. I said, I can't take this no more. I said, Reggie, I got her, and I'm bringing her home.
Sheila took Regina to the downtown penthouse where Reggie lived with Sue. What she didn't know was that Sue was there already back with Reggie and refusing to tell him what she had done with the baby.
She opened up the door, looking at me like everything was normal. Reggie came and grabbed Regina, and he was just in tears holding her. And I'm sitting on the couch, and I'm really mad at her. It's like, you've been here all this time, and this man's calling me, crying, and I got the baby, and I really felt bad for him. Until then I got a gun to my head.
Sheila says she'd never seen Reggie like this. He seemed high, hysterical, demanding answers.
Tell her the truth. I'm sick of the lies. You tell her the truth. Tell her the truth. And the baby started crying, and he went upstairs, and I ran out that door.
It's 1982. Sue and Reggie were supposed to be moving into a new home with a backyard for little Regina, but that didn't happen.
She didn't think she would ever make it to her 30th birthday, and she didn't.
Instead, Sheila says the prize received a phone call from Reggie.
He called and asked, is Sue there? No, she's not here. After he found her car, that's when okay, there's something wrong.
Reggie said he found her car after days of searching at the Last Chance bar. Sue worked out of there as a prostitute. A lot of people did. The place was notorious, but we'll get to that. First, Sue's disappearance.
The car was just packed to the brim, front seat, back seat, trunk. And where would she go without her coat, her purse, her money?
And most importantly, Sheila says she would never have left Regina. But Regina was with Reggie, and Sue was gone.
She wanted to leave and always was going to leave with Regina. I mean, that baby was just her world, her heart, everything. But she said, if I'm gone and I don't have Regina, know that something happened to me.
Know that something happened to me. Sue Pry had told her parents and siblings to search, and maybe they would have uncovered some answers if not for what happened next to stop that search dead in its tracks. When we come back. When we left off, Sue Pry had disappeared. Her car discovered at the Last Chance bar. A heroin addict and prostitute, anything could have happened to her. But Sue was also a mom who said she'd never go anywhere without her daughter. Now she's gone, and the search for Sue was about to take a sinister turn.
Sheila's dad and her sister Shelley reported Sue missing to Detroit police, but they weren't real optimistic.
They just said you really didn't want to know. That's what they told my dad.
So her dad hired a private detective. Then came the phone call. Her father answered, listened, and hung up.
He's shaking and crying. He said, somebody called and said if he did not, he stopped investigating, trying to find my sister, that one of his other daughters would be gone and missing too.
Mr. Pry had 5 daughters. One was already gone, and now the others were being threatened.
They just told him that if he didn't stop searching, that another one of his daughters would end up missing.
It was a chance her dad wasn't willing to take. The search for Sue was over. So what happened to Sue Pry?
They'd pull in over here, and the bar would be here. And it wasn't big and it wasn't tiny, but it was busy. And there would always be girls out front walking.
The Last Chance Bar was notorious for prostitution. In 1979, the Wayne County prosecutor started going after them.
And in the first 5 months of 1979, there's been 40 arrests and convictions for accosting and soliciting in the Last Chance Bar.
First ticketing the prostitutes, then filing a lawsuit against the owner, eventually pulling their liquor license and shutting down the bar. Sheila thinks her sister may have been caught up in that whole mess.
Something was going on at the Last Chance Bar or something. My dad had told me that she was supposed to testify about something, and she was being threatened to testify and not to testify. So that could be it too.
Sheila also says Sue was known to steal from some of her clients.
She did a lot of things. Like the man that used to come over every week, and she'd rip him off. You know, she did some shady stuff. So it's no telling who she might have screwed over, stole from. I don't know. I don't know.
Sue seemed heartless, but she was an addict. Heroin turned her into a different person. Someone Sheila says maybe Reggie didn't want around anymore.
Do you think Reggie had something to do with her disappearance?
I don't know. I know he wanted Regina away from my sister.
And then there's this. Remember Reggie ran that barbershop on Woodward? Well, Sue had told her parents there was a bunch of cement in the basement there, and she was worried.
There was a lot of cement all of a sudden in the basement, and more was being brought in. And she was really, really scared. She told my mom she was scared. And my mom told me her exact words were, well, it may be for you.
And your family's always wondered if your sister is buried here.
Yeah. Always have wondered. My dad died believing it.
We can't ask Reggie. He died in 2002. He was 60 years old and had been unable to speak since being beaten with a baseball bat years before.
According to the city of Detroit, the barbershop and surrounding buildings were demolished in 2005 or 2006, and this new construction went up in 2007. They say there's no record of any bones being found on the property.
So what happened to Sue Pry? It's a question that's haunted her family for 35 years, and now Sheila is begging for answers.
Just somebody, there's got to be somebody who knows what happened to her. She's got a daughter that, you know, she never got to know, and her grandkids, my God, she'd be spoiling them rotten. Regina.
There's Regina.
Yeah. Hey, Regina. Honey, Amy's here right now.
So that was Regina on the phone. She lives out of state. She's now a wife and mother. Tonight they're celebrating her daughter's high school graduation. You just saw that picture from today. This is a very difficult and emotional topic for Regina. She's actually canceled 2 interviews with us. She never knew her mother. She was raised by her father's sister, and she's devoted to her dad. Yet she wants to know what happened to her mom, just like Sheila and her siblings and their mother want answers. They're hoping after all these years someone will finally come forward.
It could have been Reggie. It could have been one of Sue's customers. It could have been somebody that we don't even know, but sadly, many of them are already dead.
And that's the challenge. I mean, if they're going to get any answers, they cannot wait another day to try. 35 years, I mean, she was 29 when she disappeared, and it's been 35 years since she's gone missing. They're desperate for answers, desperate for help, and anyone who knows anything. And not just about this case. We talked about how many missings there are out there. So anyone with any information, give families some closure.
Yeah, we've seen in so many cold cases, though, years and years, decades can pass, and then some little piece of information will come forward that is a pivotal piece of the puzzle.
Absolutely.
So this could still be solved.
Somebody knows something.
Fascinating case.
Incredible.
Thank you.
Incredible.
Yes, and we certainly want to hear from you. Please get a hold of me if you know anything at all.
And we would love to hear from Regina at some point.
Yes, I hope to hear from Regina soon.
Amy, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.